respectfully parent a child that is very competitive and has a really hard time being disappointed whenever they lose? The first step is, if you're not doing this already, change your mindset to see them that way. See them in the perspective of a competitive child, not a sore loser. See them as having a hard time with dealing with disappointment instead of just a brat who can't stand to lose. Whenever we're able to see this kind of behavior as emotional dysregulation instead of just as bad behavior, we're able to respond in a little bit more of a compassionate way. The tricky thing about emotional dysregulation behavior is we will know that our child is dysregulated, okay? But our child isn't aware of that. And we want to get them to regulate it, okay? So that they can feel calm and so that we can, get back to enjoying whatever it is that we were doing. A lot of times we will want to just bring the two together. We want to skip all of this stuff in between. It's really hard for us to see our children upset because we will see that they are feeling emotionally dysregulated for like a skewed thought or a skewed belief of like, well, they feel like that they don't matter unless they win, or they see winning as the most important thing, and we want to teach them that that is not true. It's more about having fun and being a part of the family, doing things together as a family. And so it's like we try to like push teaching those things instead of addressing the underlying emotion. Whenever those lessons are things that we need to teach at different times. In the moments whenever our child is having a tantrum or a meltdown due to the disappointment of a loss, we need to address that emotion. And we need to address it in a way that allows it and accepts it to exist. Strategies to help in the moment. You have to go through the regulation cycle. Acknowledge, validate, express, and then problem solve. First, you want to acknowledge it for what it is. So we will say something like, I see that you're really disappointed that you lost. And then we will validate that by saying something like, I know it's really hard to lose. And sometimes whenever children are in tantrums and meltdowns, you can help them by granting the wish under the emotion by saying something like, it would have been really cool if you would have won, huh? They're able to connect with that a little bit more. Every child is different in this cycle. After you've validated them, sometimes they just need to express it. They don't really need you to be like, okay, calm down. Okay, we need to do this to calm down. All right, let me go help you calm down. Because think about a time where you were really upset and disappointed about something. Didn't really need someone to like be like, okay, it's time to calm down now. You just need to be allowed to feel how you're feeling. Our job as parents in those moments isn't to get our child to calm down, because that's something that's going to naturally happen. It is our job to help them feel safe and then protect them in those moments. Make sure they're not doing anything unsafe, and also holding those boundaries and limits that you have for your home. A good strategy to use, especially for like disappointment over losing a game, you want to remind them of their worth and value. You can say things like, I know that you lost, but it was so much fun to play with you. It solidifies that they are still good, even if they lost. Sometimes they're not going to just get calm, okay? If they're not ready to problem solve, then being like, okay, I'm gonna put this game up till later, okay? Sometimes that's the appropriate thing. If they get more regulated and you guys get to the step of being able to problem solve together, you could ask them, what do you think that we should do? We want to do things that are going to help build our child's disappointment tolerance in other times, right? Because we want to teach them those skills outside of just when they need them. So a good way to do this is for you to play out the scenario yourself. You model the behaviors that you want your child to see. So maybe you guys make a lot of things into games, right? It's like you guys race to the door or to the bathroom or to the kitchen, or you see like who can pick up the toys the fastest, and you lose, okay? You are going to get very upset, like dramatically upset. And you're gonna stop and say, I'm still good even though I lost. Or whatever it is that you want the mantra to be that your child is believing. It was still fun even if I lost. know, I really would have liked to win. Losing is so hard. You want to model these things that you want your child to do, because then it not only normalizes it for them, but then it also like shows them what to do. Because sometimes we will know what to do in a situation, but seeing it played out in front of us helps so much more. In school, I would read like the way how to solve like a math problem, and I would like get it, right? But I would struggle until the teacher showed me how she worked it out, like on the board or something. Makes it easier for your kid to be able to work through it themselves. You can do it through play with toys. It's like you guys are playing with toys together and maybe one of the toys loses. You guys can talk about how it feels to feel disappointed, and it's like, and then maybe your child's toy like helps the other one work through that disappointment together. The most important thing whenever you are doing this, do not, I repeat, do not say, see, wasn't that easy? That's something that you could do. Do you think that you could do that next time? Don't do it. It completely like just bloop, kills the learning and the connection that you had there. Because the reason that this is so effective is because it takes the personalness out of it. Sometimes whenever we try to do these things with emotions are very personal, right? It can feel too close to our kids, and that's why they're not picking up on it, because they're like, "Ooh, this is really close. I don't like this." They will reject and push against us. Whenever we play it out ourselves, or we play it out with toys, it's not so them. And they're getting to learn the skills without having all of that attention on them. You have to be able to understand that disappointment is going to happen. It's inevitable. Everyone feels it, right? And you have to be able to allow it to be there, okay? It's just the more that we allow it to be there, the less intense it will feel as we feel it more. It can be really scary for our children to feel it, so we just have to be there with them and let them know that it's okay to feel it. And whenever we are like, okay, let's take a deep breath to calm down, and it's like as soon as they feel it, that's not letting them feel like it's safe to feel it. Doing those kind of co-regulation and coping strategies are great, okay? But you need to give them a few minutes to just feel it, where you're like, you're feeling this, I can see this, I know it's so hard. I'm so sorry that you have to feel this. I'm here for you. I'm not going anywhere. You are still a good kid who is feeling this. Whatever it is that you want to say to your child to encourage them and help them feel safe while feeling that. But that is so important. Sometimes we want to just skip over that and get to where we help them calm down. And whenever we do that, it builds a lot of resistance towards that feeling, and so it builds a lot of resistance on the regulation. So don't skip that step. But then you want to do those regulation strategies. If you have any other scenarios that you are curious about on how to work through with your child, then let me know in the comments.